More Slippy-J Sunday, and today I got a pair of them because they're quite different, even though they're the same. Yeah, so this is the TS187 Fangtooth from Mazwan Mokhtar, which interesting. Making a couple of slip joints. This is one of them. There is another one that I will go over a bit later that he had also made. And yeah, you can see that this one is a bit gold and whatnot. And yeah, it's because these are titanium. I've actually anodized that one myself, and then kind of left this one standard. This was the one that I got first, and I don't think they made a whole bunch of these, but I could be wrong on that. This one has basically shredded carbon fiber in there. And yeah, this guy also is in S90V steel. Whereas this guy with the Micarta on there, which it's not too bad for Micarta, but you know, it's TwoSun's Micarta. They don't do exactly the absolute best job with it in general. But yeah, this one's an M390, which is a much more common variant of it. In both the shredded carbon fiber and Micarta, I think they're just making everything in M390 these days. And yeah, this was the second knife from TwoSun that I ended up testing in S90V after the Tepe Designs itty bitty little tiny guy, the Dynamo TS128 maybe. Ended up doing very, very poorly, and this did pretty darn good. And, you know, this also took a much more effort to actually sharpen up. So I suppose that was what kind of first set me off on that. But, yeah. Going to this, we got titanium. Looks like I got a little bit of gunk in there that I can clean out. But, yeah, we got titanium liners here with basically the bolster, so it's a little bit thicker there. Kind of some interesting milling slash finishing kind of things going on there. And we have basically, it's a stone wash finish on kind of the top of the titanium and the Beck spring and all that sort of good stuff. And it's a pretty neutral handle. It's got a bit of a curve there, but very, very comfortable for full 4 fingers if you're doing that. And hugs the inside of your hand if you're doing a pinch cut to start something or other. Pretty decent walk and talk. However, I will say that, yeah, there is some variance because this one is just a little bit stronger in both. I would probably call this one a 6 and this one a 5, as far as, you know, pull strength out of 10. So they have a pretty decent amount of retention there, but yeah, it is a slip joint, so, you know, watch yourself. I tend to like to do kind of the golder colors with carbon fiber in general if I am going to anodize some titanium on those, just because it gives it a bit more of a pop of color. Some people will do bronze a little bit more with carbon fiber because they're looking for a little bit more of an antique look. It really just depends on your personal preference. I've done both of them. But yeah, this guy essentially has a pull here for you to get on both sides here. You do have this other one, and it's basically just there for balance because you don't really have leverage and not so much a great purchase in there with it, but it is kind of one of which the name for the knife has gotten its name for it. And yeah, the cutting profile on these things are pretty darn good. They're not the absolute thinnest knife I've ever seen right behind the edge, but very respectable and slices like a pretty darn good beast because it's fairly tall and basically a full flat grind kind of going on there. You know, it's a full flat grind from here all the way down to the bottom. It's a little flatter in the back, which gives you just a little bit more meat behind there, but not necessarily behind the edge. But yeah, it does a pretty darn good job. I like these guys quite a bit. I also like slip joints that, you know, are fully designed or fully sized, I guess, so that you can actually pull it out and use it comfortably, like a buck 110 or even a 112 Ranger or something like that, or right around kind of that size. And then smaller than that, they're a little bit more a little more useful for a secondary kind of backup knife that you would throw in your pocket or something like that. But these guys are substantial enough and have decent enough steel in them to kind of use as your daily driver, and they do a dang good job at it. So, as I have said in the past, generally don't suggest that you take apart slip joints. But obviously, I've already done this one before because I had to anodize it. So I'm going to do so. A lot of the difficulty in putting a slip joint back together is all with getting the proper pressures and everything on the back spring here. Push that guy out just a little bit. Hey, there we go. So yeah, we got the standard back spring here. We got this spacer that goes through it. We also have a pin on the inside there. And you can see we got the Phosphor Bronze washers going on there. I don't really feel the need to yank the blade off and then put it back on, so I'll just keep it there. But, well, now that I think about it as well, if people have not seen how to take apart fully and put back together a slip joint, then I shall do that. I just want the washer to go on the other side of the spring there. And I would really rather not take the spring off again, because it requires a lot of force to get them back on and everything. So, yeah. Well, it'll probably get in there just perfectly fine afterwards. Now, on this one in particular, I did open it up and polish off these little brass washers. Something that you certainly do not have to do unless, it has a horrific action that doesn't have to do with the back spring interfacing with the blade. It's something you can do. Definitely I start with a strop with some abrasive on there. Like so. Yeah, that's green. It's also got a red side, but I don't use it all that often. But yeah, you'll just kind of get that on there on your finger and kind of rub it back and forth. You can actually see sometimes that will leave some bronze deposits or whatever on there. And yeah, a lot of times I'll use these mouse pads because they're convenient and everything. But if you can rub it kind of around in a circle and don't feel any catches on either side, hey, you got all the burrs off. So yeah. So essentially how you end up throwing these back on is you go over where it would standardly stop, because you're trying to get this little edge under here underneath the spring so that you can kind of shove the spring up and out the way, and there you go. Now, if you haven't done that before, then yeah, it's that's how you end up doing it. Yes, it does require force. Yes, you must be very careful when you're actually doing that. I figure I should at least kind of give that information out there, because yeah, if you're not super careful, then yeah, these blades bite, especially if you're super good at doing the whole sharpening thing with it. But yeah, you're generally not quite over after that point, because you actually have to get everything situated properly, including the pen. Oh yeah, here's the little Fangtooth and the Mazwan Mokhtar logo and everything, because they don't generally They don't generally brand blades from Mazwan Mokhtar. On the outside, at least. But yeah, so that's in there on both of those. Just want to... Yeah, that looks good. I can get the carbon fiber scale on there afterwards. No problem at all. Little tiny one here. Which is interesting that the guys that are holding on the scales on these things are T10. A lot of times they'll do T8s for them. But yeah, I certainly won't do this for all of the slip joints. But you know, every now and again, it's nice to actually pull them apart and kind of show how that whole process goes. Yeah, good as new. So yeah, that's the Fangtooth. These are some of my favorite slip joints that TwoSun's done. It's absolutely not my #1 favorite, but these guys are certainly up there. And yeah, I mean, this guy I really do like in the S90V because they did a really good job on it overall. And the shred carbon fiber that they did on this looks pretty good. I do need to probably throw another little bit of oil on there or something like that just to make it pop a little bit, just due to the polishing. But yeah, they do a pretty good job on their shred carbon fiber. Shred's not too difficult to do. Marbled, for whatever reason, seems to be difficult for a lot of companies. You end up with something like, let's see, yeah, like this Civivi guy that looks good, but it looks good because of the black liners, because this is essentially, oh no, these guys are shred instead of marbled. I thought these were marbled, but nope. So yeah, a lot of times knives like this with shredded carbon fiber, it's essentially shredded carbon fiber, and then this guy has some gold flake in there, and then they just pour resin over the top of it and mold it out there. So it's not quite as strong because it's basically just the epoxy, especially on the outsides where it's not all fully filled in. But these guys are pretty good through and through. I don't have any problems whatsoever with it. I don't really have any voids either, which is super great. But yeah, we've already kind of known that TwoSun does a pretty darn good job with their carbon fiber. All right, well, yep, that's the TS187 Fangtooth, both in shred carbon fiber and S90V, as well as brown micarta and M390. So yeah, that was a fun little video. Hope y'all enjoyed it, because I did. And yep, as always, I appreciate y'all for watching. Have yourself a wonderful rest of your day, yo. Alright, something kind of important I forgot, so I'll throw it here on the end of the video, is kind of the weights and measures of these guys. They're not exactly the lightest things in the known universe. This is a 3.185 ounces, or yeah, 90 grams, give or take, sort of thing for them. Yeah, let's see. Let's go ahead and take a look at... We'll go with blade length here. 2.91 inches. So this is a little bit over that ounce an inch kind of mark going on there. They are a little thin though, at basically a 0.475 or close thereabouts. And the blade stock, which I always like to do in millimeters because I don't really like the whole thousandth sort of thing. But yeah, 3.5 millimeters. So, alright, there we go. That's everything that we need. So, yeah. I appreciate y'all for sticking on, and or if you didn't watch this part of the video, it's also down in the description, because I put a lot of those statistics down there in the doobly-doo. But all right, thanks, y'all.